going to invite Ms. Vinita Gangathran, Executive Director of York International, to do the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Helen. The land acknowledgement at York University is as follows. As a member of the York University community, I recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with territories upon which York University campuses are located that precede the establishment of the York University campuses. York University acknowledges its presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. The area known as Takaranto has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It is now home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. As not all of us may be on the same territory as the one that we've acknowledged, I ask that you consider the territories that you're on and reflect on the land that you are in and look after the land. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinita. So before we start, I also would like to review or provide an update and overview of this 4-year program that we received funding for from the Government of Canada. As I mentioned, this is called SDGs in Action Student Challenge. This year, we have piloted it, essentially implemented the program between January to March of this year. We held or organized 6 workshops, including SDGs knowledge building workshops, project management and working in teams workshops, as well as the community-based action workshop, which is really essential to the success of this project. After these workshops, the students and their partners, along with the faculty and SDG mentors, work on their projects, starting with follow-up research, desk research, connecting and meeting with the partners or potential partners. And actually, some of them went about implementing those projects in small scale, or as what we often use as a pilot version of those projects. And of course, tonight we have the knowledge fair, which is so exciting because finally all of the efforts and actions of our students and mentors will be witnessed by ourselves and will be shared with our colleagues around Canada and with our partners from all over the world who's joined us today. So very quickly, I want to review the participation that we have received. There were more than 100 students who have applied to the program. Finally, the ones who completed or participated, we have 50 plus students split between York students and our partners. So you will see here as well the diversity of the student representation from our partners. We have Brazilian students, of course, our Canadian students, students from India, Italy, Mexico, Philippines, and Vietnam. We have about 10 partner universities who actually sent or nominated their students participants to the program. I also wanted to acknowledge our faculty and SDG mentors. So we had 13 York University mentors and 8 mentors, also from our global partners. And I will not read all of the names of the institutions here, but as you can see, we have students from the US or partners from Mexico, Tec de Monterrey, Brazil, and the Philippines. And of course, we have the support of our colleagues from around the university or across the university. We have faculties of education, environmental and urban change, health, Lassonde School of Engineering, liberal arts and professional studies, science, AMPD, School of Art, Performance and Design, Schulich School of Business, and our York University English Language Institute. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Vinita to introduce our senior leaders.
Thanks, Helen. It's my great pleasure to introduce Lucy Fromovitz, who is our Vice Provost Students. Lucy has been a longstanding champion of access, diversity, and inclusion at York University, at Centennial College, at the University of Toronto, and now back at York University. And I also want to thank Lucy for her longstanding service to students and to the higher education community. As some of you may know, that she will be retiring at the end of this year. And so this is a great opportunity to thank someone who's been one of the biggest champions of students that I know of. So Lucy, over to you.
Thank you, Vanita, for a very kind introduction. And welcome to each and every one of you. As President Lenton has not yet joined us, I get the pleasure of saying I have the best job at York University. And that's because I get to participate in opportunities such as this. I get to meet and work with our students and students from around the world. What you are accomplishing in this program is truly the purpose of a university education. It combines all the best parts. It's about understanding the global challenges that we're faced with. It's about finding global solutions to those challenges, and it's about the research that's involved. Combine those areas, that's what university education is all about. I'm so thrilled with the work and the opportunity to see the presentations. Each and every one of you has done exceptional work. Within the Division of Students at York University, we have several pillars, and one of them is about creating the future. Well, that's the work you're doing. You are creating the future. Through your exploration of the opportunities and the challenges, you are about community action and about social change. Truly, what you've achieved is remarkable, especially from a global lens. I really hope that one of the things that you learned was really how remarkably similar our lives, the issues we face, the challenges we face really are. And I hope through your discourse, your research, the work you've done, you also realize that the solutions for these challenges lie with all of us around the world. It's all of the nations and the leaders, and you are our leaders, rising to these challenges. I won't go into the numbers. Helen and others have the numbers of students, the numbers of participants, the numbers of mentors, all working together, all bringing together a really diverse number of ideas. I truly applaud your commitment. I sincerely hope that your learning goals were realized. Some of you may have invited your families to join us. And I like to just say welcome to all of those families, in addition to our faculty members from around the world and our students. We know the sustainable goals are an imperative and that it takes action and a global lens in order for us to move forward. So a big thank you to all of you for creating the impact that you have. And now I see that Dr. Lenton has joined us, and I will turn it back over to Vanita Gangatharan to introduce our president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Rhonda Lenton, who serves as the university's 8th president and vice chancellor here at the university. I'd like to read a quote that she has actually on her website. And she too speaks about access and the transformative power of higher education. She says, "My parents never stopped hammering into their children the idea that higher education would open up new and exciting world for us, enabling us to contribute to the welfare of others. My siblings and I were the first in our family to attend university. We worked our way through school to pay for our tuition, allowing us to realize our dreams and those of our parents. Like me, York students, and indeed all our students who've joined us today, come from all walks of life And we are woven into a tapestry so colorful, so resilient, and so inspiring that our ambition to improve the world knows no limits. And I think this is a very appropriate sentiment for our projects that we're about to see today. So Dr. Lenton, over to you.
Thank you so much, Benita. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir, bonjour. My apologies for coming in late, but I'm really delighted that so many of you were able to join us today for our annual Go Global Knowledge Fair. For those who are not part of the York University community, I want to welcome you to York virtually. And I do look forward to the day when we get to meet on our campuses again. I also want to extend a special welcome to the students, faculty, and colleagues joining us from York and our partner universities in the Americas, Asia Pacific, and Europe. We currently have 52 students from countries around the world, including Brazil, India, Italy, Mexico, Philippines, and Vietnam, who are participating in this year's Go Global SDGs in Action Student Challenge. This level of engagement is a testament to your interest in being co-creators and co-authors of actions that challenge how we think about the world and our collective future and take steps toward driving positive change. At York, our University Academic Plan 2025, Building a Better Future, includes a challenge to the broader York community to approach sustainability through a holistic lens of collaboration, innovation, and knowledge translation that addresses the complex global challenges facing society today, from political polarization to racism, xenophobia, inequality, climate change, conflict, and a pandemic. The Go Global Sustainable Development Goals in Action Student Challenge, funded through the Government of Canada's Outbound Student Mobility Pilot Program, Global Skills Opportunity, is just one example of how York University is empowering global-minded learners to develop the required competencies, such as leadership, digital fluency, and project management skills that will position them to lead with purpose in the creation of innovative solutions to real-world problems. As the student teams presenting today are answering the call through innovative projects, such as designing digital modules that allow for women to have ease of access to information on sexual reproductive health and providing women with feminine hygiene supplies, investigating the efficacy of global citizenship education courses, creating a business model for an online crowdfunding platform that connects investors with small sustainable businesses all over the world, and identifying community-level participatory approaches to address water poverty in India. Building on these projects and the many other bold actions being taken across the university, York has gained a strong reputation as a global leader in sustainable learning, teaching, research, and operations. In fact, in 2021, York ranked in the top 6% of universities worldwide for the third year in a row in the Times Higher Education Global Impact Rankings, placing 27th in the world for the SDG 17 Partnerships for the Goals, and 24th in the world for SDG 11 Sustainable Cities and Communities. I'm immensely proud of the many ways the York community, including our international partners, have come together to drive sustainable economic, cultural, social, and environmental change in our local and global communities. And so I want to share my gratitude with the faculties, SDG mentors, and staff at York and our international partners whose collaboration, dedication, and commitment has made this program a great success. And to our students here today, thank you for all of your hard work and your commitment to writing the future. I wish you the best of luck with your presentations. And to all of our guests, I hope you enjoy the event. Thank you so much. Merci, miigwech.
Thank you so much, President Lenton. It is a great pleasure to have you tonight. Thank you, Lucy, for joining us as well. I'm going to turn it over now to one of our colleagues, Ana Maria Martinez, for us to proceed with the project presentations of our students. I'm very excited. I hope you all are.
Thank you, Helen. Okay, so introducing the first group, we have Dr. Rahul Arora, an assistant professor in the Department of Economics and Finance at the Birla Institute of Technology and Science in India. Dr. Rahul has mentored several groups in this project and has facilitated the workshop on SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Over to you, Doctor.
So I'm Dr. Rahul Arora, as she has already introduced. So I'm one of the mentors of SDG Group 1. So our project title is Promoting Responsible Consumption Through Climate Smart Practices, a community-based approach. So our groups are an opportunity to contribute towards the SDG 11, which is on the making cities sustainable, resilient, and settlement inclusive. And particularly, we were focused on the target 11.5, which says the reducing the number of people affected by the disasters, particularly the water-related disasters. So to contribute, our group provides few climate smart solutions to the existing consumption activities to mitigate climate change. So in this way, the work is also linked to the SDG 12, which is on the responsible consumption of natural resources. So before going for the presentation, I would like to thank all the team members for putting their efforts, especially the mentors and the students. So without wasting much time, so let's see the presentation of our work. So thank you.
Our project focuses on SDG 11, which is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, and SDG 12, which ensures sustainable consumption and production patterns. Some background information on our project. As we know, many regions globally are already facing irregular climate patterns, such as sharp changes in rainfall, extended droughts, frequent flooding, or severe heat waves, including the Philippines. These are caused primarily by the release of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Studies have shown that the current technologies that are in use in residential, institutional, and commercial buildings are not climate friendly, and that a technological shift is necessary to achieve environmental sustainability. Although developing countries have historically played a minor role in climate change, they are nonetheless the most affected by its effect, due in part to their limited capacity to combat its impact through mitigation and adaptation. The Philippines is a perfect example of such a situation. A report suggests that the Philippines is the most vulnerable country to climate change, and it also is the most severely affected. And that's due in part to the Philippines' geographical location. The country received on average 20 typhoons a year, which makes it really vulnerable to flooding. And the severity of those typhoons has increasingly worse over the years, and that's also due to climate change. The reasoning behind our project. So, studies have suggested that the use of climate smart technologies is one of the most important ways to reduce the negative effects of climate change. Climate smart technologies or climate smart goods are defined as products, components, and technologies that tend to have a relatively less adverse impact on the environment. Climate smart goods constitute low carbon growth technology. Studies have also suggested that the public in general responds more favorably to education and awareness as opposed to enforced legislative restrictions. Our project will suggest climate smart solutions in an effort to mitigate climate change and also recommend approaches to raise community participation towards climate change mitigation while raising awareness to the fact that water-related disasters are a direct effect of climate change. Our project considers the University of the Philippines, Mindanao, as a partner in the hope that they adopt our vision of making UPM a green campus. The project also is focusing on providing strategies for replacing the existing infrastructure, such as drinking water fountains, shower heads for the dormitories, and gas stoves in the canteens and eateries. And now my groupmate Girly, who lives in the Philippines and is also a graduate of the University of the Philippines, Mindanao, will walk you through the existing infrastructure and also talk about our suggested climate smart solutions.
The current water drinking fountains found in the university, the drinking water fountains and the water filtration system. The water drinking fountains are filtered and cooled using a water filtration system. All these water fountains are the sources of drinking water for the students and the faculty during the face-to-face classes.
Our project proposes to build symbolic drinking water fountains that run on solar energy at specific locations on campus. They would be equipped with monitors that display, among other things, key stats about water-related disasters in the Philippines, promote water-saving habits, and finally encourage participation in efforts to combat the effects of water-related disasters.
This is a proposed fixture, a smart shower. It is a climate smart shower design that was randomly selected from Google search. According to Rocaro et al., the potential water savings upon installation of water-efficient plumbing fixtures, or CSG, is about 25 to 60%. This is one of the current eatery on campus. This is the proposed smart stove, a climate smart stove design that was randomly selected from Google search. Here are the outcomes of the project. The immediate outcomes: awareness among campus community about importance of water, particularly on conservation of water. Reduction in drinking water-related disease because of bad design. Reduction in usage of bottled water. Reduction of wastage of water through water drinking fountain and from the bathroom. Reduction in cost of food in the restaurants for the students. Reduction in extraction of gas from nature. Herewith are the long-term outcomes. Indirect contribution to climate change mitigation efforts. Promotion of climate smart solutions. More installations by other universities, other educational and non-educational institutions. Raise awareness among many communities.
Due to the pandemic, access to the campus was restricted, and so the data we're able to gather is limited. Also, we're not able to implement the project due to financial constraints. A complete feasibility study, as well as an estimation of the cost of the project, need to be done. This would help in presenting our case in a better way to the university, who then may raise this proposal further to the government for financial assistance. So this concludes our presentation. So our mentors for this group were Professor Rahul Arora and Professor Alidad Amir Fazli. And our group members were my groupmate Girly Laniba and myself, Frank Desir. Thank you for listening to our presentation and have a great day, everyone.
Okay, introducing the next group, we have Dr. Cheryl Van der Leen Smith, a registered nurse and academic at York University with appointments in different schools at York. She's currently serving as a provostial fellow at York University, tasked with mobilizing the infusion of the Sustainable Development Goals across the university and across disciplines and faculties. Dr. Cheryl mentored and facilitated a workshop on SDG 5, gender equality.
Thank you very, very much. I'm also presenting on behalf of my partner, mentor, and that's Katrin Cole. And we both had the privilege of serving as mentors for 4 future leaders. They're already leaders, 3 from York University, 1 from the University of the Philippines. The issue that they've sought to tackle is considered period poverty, That is the poverty and inequity faced by persons who menstruate based in gender-based stigma and socioeconomic barriers to accessing feminine hygiene products. Their project is grounded, therefore, in SDG 5 and, of course, SDG 3, health and well-being. Their project is called PADS, and that's an acronym for Promoting Access and Deconstructing Stigma. And their work has been partnering with community-based organizations in the Greater Toronto Area, particularly those that wrap around South Asian persons. Also, an organization called Software for Love that gives back to nonprofit organizations. And the agency in Brampton is called Ladlian. And they've also partnered with an organization in the University of the Philippines. So I think that's all that I want to say. I really want to thank Katrin for her mentoring alongside with me, and also really say how proud we are of Emery, Manvir, Chizaram, and Fauzia. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, welcome to Group 11's presentation. My name is Manvir.
I'm Chizaram.
I'm Fauzia.
And I'm Emery, and this is our project PADS. So PADS, or the Promoting Access and Deconstructing Stigma, is a project which aims to create meaningful discussions about periods and promotes the overall well-being of people who menstruate. Talking about menstruation and reproductive health is still taboo in some parts of the world, and we hope to be able to provide equitable access to menstrual products in terms of advocacy and community partnership. Over the past few weeks, we have been in contact with 4 different organizations and barangays, which are small communities within towns in the Philippines, to create meaningful partnerships with PADS. All of the discussions have been facilitated through email, Zoom calls, and in-person conversations on how to effectively help the communities within Canada and the Philippines. Through these discussions, we were able to successfully partner up with Canadian partners Ladlia, a nonprofit organization located in Brampton for women, Software for Love, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to give back to other nonprofits by creating websites, and a barangay located in Cotabato City called Poblacion 5, where we have main contacts with the community. All of these partners agreed to receive the period kits and education that we provide. Our SDG is primarily focused on SDG 3 and 5. However, we also hit SDG 17 with our project. The sub goals that we hit are 3.7, 5.6, 5.B, 5.C, and 17.
In order to meet all of these goals, we partnered up with an organization called Software for Love. Now, this organization will be helping us create our website. Our website will be comprised of 6 pages with the homepage, contact us, about us, team, resources, and education. Now, the website itself requires a lot of community collaboration with the project manager, designers, software developers, and more within the organization. The hard deadline to which the website will be finished will be near the end of the summer term, so in August. Software for Love aims to increase the social impact digitally of organizations within their communities. Software for Love started off as a nonprofit based in Ottawa, but quickly grew in the Greater Toronto Area. As an organization comprised of student volunteers, they want to use their unique education and software to mobilize social groups and their initiatives online. With the increased digitization within the past few years, it's become a necessity for organizations to have a digital footprint. In terms of our project, Software for Love will be creating a custom software solution, keeping in mind UI UX design trends. Our website would outline our team and our objectives, as well as link visitors to the organizations to which we are partnering with and who will be distributing menstrual products. It will also feature educational materials in the forms of articles and reports created by various different organizations, and that will present information about period equity and stigma. The website will also be discreet and will present the information and educational tools surrounding our project's goals. Similarly, it will provide the user a chance to contact us, and so it will continue to be a tool that will be used to grow our SDG project down the line.
For our partners, we became in contact with a barangay here in the Philippines for our community mobilization and partnership, which is the introduction to period kits. Here in Cotabato City, Mindanao, Philippines, a barangay has a diverse set of residents. The barangay named Poblacion 5, and we have become in touch with them through their community leader or chairman, Mr. Rostom Kanda. Since one of the members of the project, is a resident of the area. The residents within Poblacion 5 consist of diverse group of menstruators such as sex workers, women, and children. With this in mind, with the posts, pamphlet, and educational resources, we can accommodate to array of education levels and demographics in effort to talk about the importance of taking care of their sexual health. They are delighted with this initiative since basic social services here in the Philippines are not that great, and some cities here in Mindanao often neglect to provide educational drive and information dissemination on issues like this. Like La Adlis, care packages, the Philippines will receive the same access to care packages through their community centers.
Yeah. So as Fazia mentioned, the Lodlia is an organization that's based in Brampton, and they provide the Lodlia Care Package. Now, the partnership with Lodlia is meant to uplift organizations that have been previously tackling similar issues within the communities. A goal of our project, as mentioned previously, is to expand pre-established organizations that better understand the issues within that particular community. Lodlia's Lodli Care Package provides South Asian women with period and hygiene products within Brampton and the Greater Toronto Area. The Lodli Care Package addresses and attempts to eliminate period poverty with the South Asian diaspora in the Greater Toronto Area, and they acknowledge the taboo and would need our support to expand this project through bringing educational tools. Our role within that is to bring more awareness to the program through our website and to make those resources more accessible to everyone in the Greater Toronto Area. Even if you did not get a care package from Lodlia, our website will be a toolkit to understanding period health, and it would help in the mission to eradicate period poverty. Our role in supporting would consist of creating period education. Our role in supporting would consist of making period education more digestible. It would be done through educational pamphlets that will be distributed on the website and in the kits themselves. Lodlia is comprised of women who are volunteering their time, and so PADS would aid in growing their program through education about menstrual hygiene.
We have created an Instagram page and will be supplementing this with Twitter and Facebook in the future. On the social media we have created, we aim to spread awareness about period equity and some of the barriers in place in particularly South and Southeast Asian communities. As is illustrated in the screenshot, we aim to do this by sharing eye-catching educational posts. This will also serve to boost traffic to our website, where visitors can be linked to organizations like Lodlia that can help them access menstrual products.
For our advocacy efforts, we have advocacy within the York University campus, which is screening of period end of sentence. So our group wants to open more discussions around period inequity and offer screenings of period end of sentence in collaboration with different student associations and groups like the Global Health Student Association. We are able to open up the conversation and advocate for the different communities we are working with.
So here's the timeline of our Willing project. In February and March, we researched community partners and how to make our period kits accessible. In March, we started discussions with the community and organizations we could work with, including Lodlia, Software for Love, the barangays, and the Period Purse. In April and July, we will approach funding and banking, where we will open a bank account that funds Software for Love and the Barangay Poblacion V. We will also design the website and pamphlets and start Twitter and Facebook pages. And in August, we will focus on finishing the website and continuing the community partnerships that we have developed, as well as adding more communication channels. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Okay, so introducing the next group, we have Dr. Charles Hopkins, who holds the UNESCO Chair in Reorienting Education Towards Sustainability at York University. He's also advisor to the Global Regional Centers of Expertise Network and is co-director of the Asia Pacific Institute on Education for Sustainable Development in China. Dr. Hopkins mentored this group and also facilitated the workshops on SDG 17, Partnership for the Goals, and SDG 4, Quality Education.
Thank you very much, Maria. It's a pleasure to introduce the group 3. Their work is on conflict resolution and in particular amongst belief differences and trying to infuse peace education. The group members are Joaquin Carlo Castro from the Philippines and Arushka Harshan from York University. The project is addressing SDG 4 and in particular looking into global citizenship, and also it addresses SDG 16 on peace and justice. The interesting aspect of this is that they want to deliver a series of webinars internationally, and so they began by hooking up and contacting the International Peace Institute. This is a collection of NGOs around the world, and they've been collaborating with them in designing their project. The project has 3 main components. First of all, they're developing a pretest so that they can better fine tune the webinar that they design to the needs and then all existing knowledge and so on in the community that they're going to be working in. So after the pre-test, they will fine tune the webinar and so on. And then there is a post-test as well. The post-test, of course, will help them in, first of all, understanding the outcomes, what they've been able to achieve, and to help them in further developing webinars as they move along. So it's my pleasure now to turn it over to the team. Thank you.
Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Quality education, or more specifically, Target 4.7, which we will be including for peace education. To achieve the SDGs, every individual must acquire the sustainable development knowledge, global citizenship values, and 21st century skills critical to tackling our shared challenges and to promoting a future of equitable, inclusive, and resilient societies. Education is a crucial enabler of this transformation. It is the basis of cultivating the best in ourselves and our communities, and is the key for learning to live together and work together for a better world. Transformative education provides learners with knowledge to promote social inclusion, find peace in cooperation, raise awareness of how to protect our societies from emerging diseases, human-induced climate change, loss of biodiversity, and large-scale pollution. In the wisdom of Agenda 2030 and the SDGs, the entire world has endorsed the concept of building a just world through education. But why should we focus on conflict resolution? Each year, over 1.6 million people worldwide lose their lives to violence. Violence is among the leading cause of death for people aged 15 to 44 years worldwide, accounting for 14% of deaths among males and 7% of deaths among females. For every person who dies as a result of violence, many more are injured and suffer from a range of physical, sexual, reproductive, and mental health problems. Moreover, violence places a massive burden on national economies, costing countries billions of dollars each year in healthcare, law enforcement, and loss. Conflict resolution is a process of ending dispute and reaching an agreement that satisfies all parties involved. Since conflict is an essential part of being human, conflict resolution is not designed to avoid disagreements. Rather, it facilitates discussion, increases understanding, and controlled emotional responses.
Mindanao in the southern Philippines has witnessed decades of armed conflict, which has affected people's lives and livelihood. Far-flung and conflict-affected areas, including the Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM, remain poor, hampering sustainable and inclusive development.
set of questions asked will allow the organizers to know the lived conditions and experiences of participants as well as their prior knowledge and experience, if there is any, on peace education and conflict resolution. Also, the set of questions will allow the organizers to coordinate with the speakers to frame their presentations based on data received from participants, such as framing relating it with peace conditions and efforts in their respective countries. These questions will allow the organizers to know the understanding of participants regarding conflict resolution strategies and their level of interest in creating or organizing peace education and conflict resolution programs. The data gathered will also be studied carefully by the organizers and cross-checked. The general flow of the data and methodology follows Coexister International Project implementation strategies in organizing or developing their peace education and conflict resolution activities.
Thank you. Introducing the next group, we have Julie Hart, the International Relations Manager for the Faculty of Health at York University. Along with mentoring this group, Julie is also part of the project team, supporting the administration of the program. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Ana Maria. As a co-mentor with Dean Leah Abayo in the Philippines, I'm delighted to have the privilege of introducing Group 9. This is a collaborative group bringing together the minds and passions and skills of students from Canada, Brazil, Italy, and Philippines, with a focus on SDG 10, which is reduced inequalities, and SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, and touching on sustainable development goal number 17. This energy and passion was very impressive and a challenge because the discussions and ideas were plentiful amongst the group, and landing on just one project idea was the first accomplishment. So I'm grateful and honored to introduce a project by Cindy Hung-Ling, Trang Ngo, Kadrina Ibanescu, Isabella Pereira, Nijat Humatov, and Claudine Nduma. And I'll let the video speak for itself. Thank you, everyone.
So hello everyone. So I will be sharing with you our project, develop a business model for a global online crowdfunding platform focused on natural and cultural goods. So for this project, our advocacy, we came up with a problem statement. How might we assist in funding small, sustainable businesses to grow and reach more space in the global market? So for this project, how are the sustainable development goals at the core of this funding platforms. So here we chose to prioritize SDG 10, reduced inequalities, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, and SDG 17, partnership for the goals. So for this target SDGs, for the SDG 10, we want to help small businesses in marginalized countries. Also, we want to make sure that there is that equal opportunities are given to all members of the community, and of course that we are in support to end discrimination. And of course, lastly, we also want to promote universal social, economic, and political inclusion. For Sustainable Development Goal 11, we want to support small businesses that protect culture and natural heritage. And for SDG 17, we want to provide a means for developed countries to collaborate and support small businesses in developing countries. So with this target objectives of the project, so we want this crowdfunding platform known as SDG Goods be a bridge for between the small businesses in developing countries and of course the members of the developed country to provide them opportunity to help give a hand to these small businesses. So how do we identify sustainable businesses that will be featured on our platform? So what some of the considerations that we have are radical resource productivity. So we want to feature companies who work to eliminate dependence on the material and energy extracted from the resources of the earth, thus solving the excessive harvest and depletion of natural capital. Investment in natural capital. So we want to feature companies that are restoring, maintaining, and expanding ecosystems to meet the needs of society and businesses. And of course, ecological redesign. So we want to support companies that use closed cycle production systems in which production and disposal waste is considered as a resource and is recycled without being sent to the dump. They also work on the elimination of artificial toxic chemicals from their own production processes. Okay. And another consideration, so service and flow economy. So aside from the circular economy in their production, we want to support companies that demonstrate short and long-term thinking, sustainable thinking. So we want to make sure that they have sustainable plans for the capital investment that they will be getting from the platform. Also, responsible consumption. So we want to make sure that these companies, small businesses, are in line with our advocacy to help consumers make better and informed decision in their purchases. So they are prioritizing goods that is environment friendly and that these businesses actually provides equal opportunities, fair wages for people belonging in the marginalized communities, so BIPOC, women, LGBTQ+, and people with disabilities. So also, we want to focus on businesses that has products or goods from specific culture and heritage. So in their application, there would be cultural explanation and introduction of their products. And of course, if they would have certificate of sustainability or belonging to specific cultures. So how do we differ from the other platforms? So here in our platform, we provide them the option and not just have like either donation reward or crowd lending. We want to provide these small businesses an option to choose what they want to give back to the funders. So it will be included in their application and will be disclosed to the funders. Another thing that differentiates our platform is that this crowdfunding supports the sustainable businesses protecting culture and heritage, some of which are ecotourism. An example of it is the Chumbe Island in Zanzibar, where they conserved and they manage sustainably their natural resources. Also, producers of culturally specific products An example is the group of producers of heritage craft located in Kyoto, which expanded their business internationally over the years. And another example, which is closer to home, is actually the Dream Rivers. So this is the Tinalak cloth weaving in the Philippines. So this is made by women of the Tiboli ethnic tribe in the Philippines. They are hand woven, made of abaca fibers. It's a local plant and naturally dyed using bark, roots, and plant leaves. So these are naturally sourced materials. So this is actually essential part of the Tiboli heritage, mainly because it's also used for ritual purposes and festival celebration. So the Tinala cloth is a creative tri-colored pattern made by dream weavers who are visited by their goddess Fudalu in their sleep. So they made those patterns based on their dreams, thus having them the name dream weavers. And we want to feature this community mainly because of based on our research as well, this is actually a culture under threat due to non-locals mass producing their products, so the Tinala cloth. So we want to provide them a venue to feature their products to the global market and at the same time protecting their culture and heritage. So here we find actually online business named Philip plus Ina, which if you would add, it means Filipina, or in English, it's women. So this is actually a business which develops an intimate and personal relationship with the artisans. So it features designs from the tribal communities in the Philippines. So as you can see here, they feature different ethnic tribes, and as you can see, there is the Tiboli tribe, and this is the founder. Wherein they're wearing the beautiful um, uh, cloth clothing made of tinalak material. So what type of platform? So here we consider that our group have limited expertise in developing the platform independently. Also, we realize that there is the time to build the audience can also be very expensive, and we want to build partnerships that can address the above limitations and at the same time encourage support for SDG 17. So here we want to go together by developing a sustainable partnerships with organization and of course to assist the more than 200 million small and medium-sized enterprises in emerging markets which alone lack access to finance, limiting their ability to grow and thrive. So some of the platforms or ways to partner for this crowdfunding. One is to, of course, partner with the existing platforms. So as you can see, the very popular example would be Kickstarter.com. So while they have these different categories, we want to partner with them and have a tab there featuring all the sustainable goods that we have on our portfolio. So in some way, this is also marketing our advocacy to really actively support SDG goods. Another are bank online card promotions websites. So as we all know, banks want their clients to spend using their cards. And here we are providing them by featuring the SDG goods in their website. We are giving their clients and consumers an option to spend, but for the better and more meaningful way by supporting the SDG goods. And another thing is to have the SDG goods or businesses featured in more our target and niche market. So that's SDG support groups websites. Also, we have e-commerce. We have searched on e-commerce that really houses high-end products. Thus, also a good way to place uh, beautiful patterns of the tinalak by having it on that e-commerce website. And lastly, public and private cultural organization websites, say the UNESCO, which is really focused on the culture and heritage. So we can feature their sport, cultural SDG goods, where the audience can actually also support the sustainable businesses in our platform. And to end this presentation, I want to end this with a fun fact. This is actually me when I was given an opportunity to visit the Tivoli community in 2013. So as you can see, they have different products made of tinalak cloth, the tricolored pattern. And while witnessing the women empowerment and beauty of the tinalak weaving, it made me share it to our group, which most probably would have led us to our advocacy for the project. So once again, so here are our resources. And once again, thank you so much for listening to this presentation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that presentation. So the next presentation will be introduced by Dr. Alidad Amil Fauzi, who is a professor and department chair for mechanical engineering at York's Lassonde School of Engineering. Dr. Alidad mentored a couple groups tonight and also helped to facilitate the workshop on SDG for quality education and engineering. So after this presentation, we're going to go into a Q&A. So feel free to share your questions and your comments, and I'll give the floor to you, Alidad.
Thank you so much. Good day, good night, depending on where are you. I'm so excited to introduce the next group, who is a collaboration between students from Philippines, Italy, and Canada. They are dealing with something very, very important, that's waste management. And you're going to see how creatively they are trying to influence the behavior of the youth, especially in the partner country and the community in Philippines. And I know we are running a bit late, so I turn it over to my lovely group. On behalf of myself and Diana, who worked and was a pleasure really working to this group. So please take it away.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about waste management behaviors of the Filipino youth. My name is Roxanne, and today I am joined by my fellow presenters, Carmina and Van. And all right, nowadays it is rare to go on a walk without noticing a single piece of trash on the ground. Although present all over the world, my team and I have come to truly understand its severity in the Philippines. Only 40% of all trash is collected through state-sponsored vehicles, meaning garbage trucks. And only 100 out of 1,488 municipalities are able to practice proper waste sorting and composting. If the trash isn't left on the streets, rivers, or other, the waste is disposed of on landfills, pipelines, sewage, and even sometimes it can even lead to floods. Not only that, but some more developed countries such as Japan, the US, and the UK have been known to send their own waste to the Philippines. And it is also very much safe to say that the most of those waste are single-use plastics. The Philippines are responsible for over a third of the ocean's plastic waste. Such high levels of pollution is not an isolated issue. It has led to contamination within both different foods and the air. And also, low-income communities often rely on single-use plastic to provide food and necessities to their families. Local stores also sell an abundance of small quantity products because they are fully aware that such communities will not be capable of buying in bulk. Therefore, isn't waste management as much of a socioeconomic issue than it is an environmental one? So my team and I have concluded that the problem is that communities do not participate within waste management initiatives, and they do not possess the proper knowledge as to how to do so with minimal governmental support. Then what is the best course of action? Although banning single-use plastic is not the right course of action for the reasons previously mentioned, perhaps spreading awareness as to waste sorting behaviors and waste engagement through encouraging the reuse of plastic in a new, more exciting way. On this slide, we have some photos that our teammate Jessel took in his neighborhood in the Philippines. Now I'm going to let Carmina take over.
Perfect. Thank you, Roxanne. So our target SDG is 11.6.1, or solid waste management. And our two partner communities are the University of the Philippines, Haring-Ibon, where we were in touch with a student-led group committed to environmental protection, and Youth for Justice, Service, and the Environment, a youth-led organization found in Kalinga, a northern province in the Philippines. So we focused on the following 4 objectives. The first being to promote waste management in households and within the community. Secondly, we aimed at encouraging communities to sort trash through incentive schemes. So we actually hope to modify waste management behavior through positive reinforcement. And this took form under a game we designed. The third is to engage the community in solving the waste management problem. And finally, we wanted to assess the effectiveness of implementing this incentive scheme. So in other words, how well did this model actually work within the community? We created a 3-step process in order to meet these objectives. We first wanted to understand the participants' attitudes, their subjective norms, their perceived behavioral control, as well as the extent of their intention to recycle and their current recycling behavior overall. And we did so by administering a recycling behavior survey. We then created a fun game called Recycling Olympics, which will be discussed later on, designed to positively influence the intention to recycle. And finally, we wanted to test the effectiveness of the prototype by re-administering the survey. And now moving on to Van.
So thank you, Kamina. Let's talk about Recycling Olympics. So during the time that we were running our project, we also ran a campaign called the Recycling Olympics. This challenge involved Filipino university students to really get into recycling trash. It's not only about collecting different kinds of rubbish, but also how trash could be transferred into arts and crafts or life hacks. We actually gave our candidates 5 bingo cards with different points for each item collected, and they are free to involve their family members or friends to join too. And here are the cards. For example, 20 points will be given by collecting 10 used light bulbs, or 10 points for collecting 10 milk boxes, and so much more. In the end, with the collaboration of 6 candidates, nearly 2,400 pieces of trash were collected, in which plastic and paper accounted for the major proportion, with 36% and 32.8% respectively. And we also found our champion for the Recycling Olympics, that is Miss Sharon Reyes Santos from National University of Philippines with 857 points. And here are some pictures of our challenge. Our participants had given a new life to their trash, planting trees in a plastic can, making shelves from carton boxes, or lanterns from paper, and so much more. Our candidates are so creative to transform their trash, and they have done so much more than our expectation. So that brings me to the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoy it.
Wonderful. So that brings us to one of the Q&A portions of the event today. So I'll ask Anna to come on screen with me to help me sift through some of the questions. But otherwise, we're going to ask a question, and then any of the panelists are who would like to answer, so the students as well as the faculty members, you can feel free to unmic and provide your thoughts and your comments on the questions. Okay, so the first question that we have is, what do you think engaging with SDGs can mean for your education? So I'll just put it in the chat as well. And then if any of the panelists would like to answer, please let me know, or just unmic. So what do you think engaging with the SDGs can mean for your education? Oh, I have a hand raised. Claudine, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm from Group 9, and first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity, for giving this venue, the SDG Challenge. And I think I just wanted to share the reason why I wanted to join this challenge is really to widen my horizon and, be able to work with other people outside my environment and learn from everyone. And I think this has been a very effective venue for me because I was able to learn from all my group mates and from my mentor, Julie. And at the same time, I was able um, to realize that what I'm learning, like say for example in my course, is actually very wide, very connected to the different industries, different professions that we have here, different nationalities and different culture that each people has. And I think that's one thing that really emphasized having that connection in all that we do, and coming together to work on this sustainable development goals.
Thank you. Rose, we have a question on the question and answer part, and Dr. Aurora responded, but I'm wondering if the students want to speak to you a little bit about that.
So the question was about whether there is a cost estimate if the financial limitations exist. So if any of those who had worked on the first presentation are here tonight, if you want to share a little bit about your thoughts on how that would work, looking into the cost estimate of your project.
So the cost estimation part is, so we in our study, we just provide the prototype, so which could be used in place of the existing facilities which are not that climate smart, and we want to provide the climate smart solution with the help of which we can mitigate the climate change. So the exact cost estimation is not done in the project because of limited access to the University of Philippines because of some COVID protocols. But yeah, so in the work ahead, we mentioned that the exact estimation of cost, it could be done in the future work with proper consultation with the university authorities. So that part is not because the exact cost estimation is the number of shower caps we need to replace, or if we don't have that kind of infrastructure, then we need to provide a drinking water fountain, a different kind of, and then the solar gas stoves, and the solar gas stoves, which could be used on the solar power, so to help mitigating the climate change. So these are the things which could be done with the help of definitely university authorities and the government of Philippines. So that requires some time, so that's why it's not done. Otherwise, yeah, it's a part of our future work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question, collective work, although Claudine responded a little bit about this, but we would like to know if someone wants to expand on this idea of collective work and collective learning is considered as an advantage. Can anyone tell us why is this important to sustainability?
One of my favorite sayings and sort of ideologies is you can go fast if you go alone, but you can go far if you go together. And I really think that that's actually at the heart of being able to accomplish anything, especially if you're thinking long term, and we want something with sustainable development goals to sustain in the long term. And so actually we have to work together and leverage the expertise and the knowledge of many different minds working on similar problems, but from different lenses in order to be able to accomplish anything. And so this exercise of bringing all the students together to think about problems that are meaningful to them was really a fantastic exercise for me as a learner, but also because I think the creative lens of everybody to kind of look at the solution from different aspects means that maybe we can actually achieve some of these goals that we're trying to set. And, it also goes to, if you're working alone, you might be able to accomplish something, but it will only go as far as the sphere of influence of you being alone. So I think that would be my take on it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Julie. We have one question from someone in the audience as well. How can youth play a vital role in climate change? Oh, Ravi, did I see your hand up? Did you want to answer the previous question too?
Yeah, it was for the previous question. That is
Okay.
fine.
No, you can start on that one and then someone else can answer the next one.
Well, we found that the collaborative education working with others is how we saw, because after we submit our project, we were able to contact people in doing the global citizens work in the local community in Sri Lanka. We were trying hard to find someone, then finally we end up, and we, after first contact, we found out how hard and what is the feasibility and how we can implement our project. And a couple of people from the Sri Lankan community, they are working in Sri Lanka and developing leadership skills in the thing. And they ask us, okay, how we can implement our curriculum we developing. Instead of implementing, how we can collaborate with their already developed something. So we were able to learn the hard part of how we can do changes on things, because we some of the political, economical landscape, it's hard to go through everything, because touching in University of Sri Lankan university education, it's not easy. So after the racial, the war and everything, but we were able to find some partners there. They can work with us, but so the collaborative work actually open the doors to make it possible. This is what I say, working, this is helping in a different way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And I think, have we seen your presentation yet, I think, Ravi?
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet. So you'll be able to see what they were talking about a little bit later. And then we're just gonna circle back to that question before. So how can youth play a vital role in climate change?
I think for that question, I always remember what Charles shared with us in the first session, that about the handprint, like making your handprint larger than your carbon footprint. So actually during the presentations, I was amazed by the different groups doing projects about the waste management, how they conducted like this in social media and then the online webinars. And I think that's the role also of the youth, like being maybe professionals in digitals. So that's something that we could really focus and maybe expand more, how we could reach more people through digitally, now that we still have the pandemic, and we could still we could spread awareness about climate change and our solutions on that.
Thank you, Claudine.
I'm now going to invite Katie Gribbins from our project team to introduce the next speaker.
Hi, everyone. So our next speaker is going to be Dr. Elvira Laura Pena, who is a professor at the Faculty of Social Sciences, Arts, and the Humanities in PUCMM, and also coordinates the direction of communication of the Ministry of Economy, an organization that coordinates the implementation of the SDGs in the Dominican Republic. In addition to mentoring this group on SDG 4, quality education, she shared her expertise on the workshops on SDG 5, gender equality.
Good evening. Good evening. From the Dominican Republic, we salute you. It's with great pride that we present the result of the Asian research carried by Danica Grace, Mila Monica, and Francilina Joy from the University of Philippines, and Christine Marie, Edgar Torres, and Rivas herself from York University, which brings together young research from the Philippines and Sri Lanka, driven by OCD4 and with the discourse analysis technique. They managed to show us important to the curricula deal with the use of global citizenships, and they make a map of skill in this regard. We thank of University of Georgia through this important project for allowing us the mentorship together with the doctors Piper and Martinez. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Peña. Our purpose as a team is focused on SDG 4, quality education, often regarded as an important requisite in realizing other SDGs because it is the foundation of learning. An aspect of quality education that is often overlooked at is Target 4.7.1, that is the inclusion of global citizenship. This highlights the interconnectedness of everyone in the world. It is relevant now, more than ever, because of the pandemic that furthered the divide in cultural understanding as well as the gap in equitable education. We contextualize this project to the Philippines and Sri Lanka because these are the regions we are best connected to in their unique educational landscape. For our methods, our team used discourse analysis using online resources about GCED and PH and LK from 2015. These specific sources can be seen on the screen. Furthermore, discussions were made with networks locally and abroad about the GCED concepts in practice with experts. Lastly, GCED syllabi, our output, will be further discussed in the last part. Next, we'll talk about the GCED in the Philippines. The Philippines education system has undergone a massive transformation in the last few decades. Still, millions of Filipino children and youth are out of school. Child poverty remains a hindrance towards achieving quality education. The following programs are launched by the government in the last decade to address education sector issues. First, we have the Alternative Learning System, which provides education for out-of-school youth and adult learners to develop basic and functional literacy skills, especially in non-formal settings. Next is the K-12 curriculum, wherein additional 2 years are added to basic education requirement, where students can specialize in the academic or technical vocational track they wish to pursue. And the last is Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act of 2017, which provides free tuition and exemption of other fees in state universities and colleges.
Very much for that day. In terms of GCED in the Philippines, Bercasio and Perez suggested that the key issue of its implementation lies in the lack of mainstreaming and institutionalization. This is the reason why there's a lack of familiarity of GCED to students and teachers, even the concepts are being integrated in school activities and lessons. In the discourse, it was shown that civil society organizations like ISEC and AFS are mainstreaming GCED by offering exchange opportunities grounded on the concept of multiculturalism. GCED is also present in service learning in high school that immerse students in local communities, allowing them to identify their capacity to contribute to social justice and understand social realities of the equity-deserving groups. Lastly, in senior high school, subjects like understanding culture, society, and politics, and community engagement, solidarity, and citizenship help in teaching civil responsibility and what it means to be a socially aware citizen.
We now turn to quality education in Sri Lanka. Since 1944, free education has been granted to students up until age of 16. Compulsory enrollment is ensured until junior secondary. Free education was made possible by the government, such as through the Ministry of Education and National Institute of Education. The objective is to provide among learners skills and knowledge to ensure they become contributing members of society. While an equitable opportunity is possible among students, the disparities are still evident. Namely, between rural and urban schools, the striving for infrastructure facilities to be improved. Revisions and updates to school curricula also needed in order to adapt to the shifting needs of society.
Along with curricula, role modeling and socialization among students is crucial for learning. Key issues, though, is the priority to complete textbook materials and regulated curricula, providing little room for active reflection, critical thinking, healthy discussion, or even community service as a group. GCED concepts then become diluted or overlooked. The key figure here displays examples of civic education activities from grade 6 to grade 9. How much of the content do you think is practiced beyond studying through a textbook? To mainstream GCED, active and open discussion is encouraged, particularly about peace building and conflict resolution in Sri Lanka. Introduce global citizenship concepts at an earlier age level to engage and gradually introduce them to students. Finally, after networking with leads working in Sri Lanka, in practice, mentorship opportunities are being made for students to learn about GCED. We now turn to Monica to highlight the discourse analyses conducted.
So for conclusion, our team would like to present a comparison of our discourse analysis. In the Philippines, the main themes included multiculturalism, social justice consciousness, and active citizenship. In the Sri Lankan context, the main themes included truth-seeking, social cohesion, as well as active citizenship, just like in the Philippines. In application, we have designed GSED syllabi for both the Philippines and Sri Lanka, reflecting, again, the main themes that we have found out based on what GSED meant for each country. We would be glad to share a copy of the designed course outlines with the panels and other participants. We have included in the course design assessments based on the learner's reflection, social action plans, and volunteerism or field work or field trip, depending on the activities that the students resonate most with.
Thank you very much, team, and everyone for listening to this presentation. If you want to further read our project, you may scan the QR code flashed below or go to the link bit.ly/goglobal_GRP8. This has been Group 8, and together, let's achieve quality education.
All right, so our next group is going to be introduced by Dr. David Huerta Harris, who is the Director of International Experiences and Models at Tecnológico de Monterrey in Mexico, and has taught at the business school throughout his career. As a mentor to this group, he also supported the workshop on setting up projects for success.
Hello, good morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm happy to introduce Team 10 and their project, also on behalf of Dr. Caroline Steele, who was co-mentor for this group. Group 10 active members were Leo McAwill from York University, Leslie Castillo, also from York, and Renan Baki from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So despite being increasingly in the news and media, suicide is a topic that people still find difficult to talk about, but affects significantly the daily lives of many and their communities. So the reasons why some people can arrive at this decision are definitely many and complex. Sometimes are very hard to perceive or explain. So Group 10 decided to focus on an initiative towards suicide prevention led by students, aiming at raising awareness about the available information regarding suicide prevention. As we know, SDG number 3 aspires to ensure health and well-being for all. It includes not just ending a set of epidemics such as AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, but also contemplates communicable and non-communicable diseases. Is within this set of non-communicable diseases that includes suicide that very sadly kills several millions of people die every year. So the reduction of the suicide mortality rate can be an identified indicator for goal number 3. We are still in need of more effective solutions that can be available to those who are being affected by the psychological conditions that might lead to suicide, and for those families who unfortunately have lost someone, regardless of where they are in the world. Not just governmental, but also community action is needed to meet this global target of goal number 3 and reduce the burden of non-communicable diseases, first and foremost for the people, but also given the socioeconomic costs that are required to prevent and control these diseases. As the World Health Organization states, this is a major developmental imperative for the 21st century. So thank you very much to team number 10 for working on this project, and we turn it over to you.
Hey, hello everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. This is Group 10 and our project tackles Sustainable Development Goal 3, which is about good health and well-being, indicator 3.42, about reduction of suicide rate. So before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that this topic might be sensitive for many of you. So be advised that it's okay to take breaks whenever you need during the presentation, and that might be talking to someone or getting up to take a quick break from this presentation. Yes. So if this was a live presentation, I would ask you to guess how many people die from committing suicide every year. But since this is just a pre-recorded presentation, I'm just going to reveal the answer. So every single year, according to the World Health Organization, there are roughly 700,000 people die from committing suicide. And I'm going to give you a moment to absorb that information. 700,000 people every single year, just 1 year, die from committing suicide. And unfortunately, the number is so much higher compared to what it was 5 or 10 years ago. And to give you an idea of how big this number is, think about Maldives. In fact, the number that I showed you earlier is more than the whole population of this country, Maldives. Rogers Center, the maximum capacity is 30,000 people. So the number of people who die from committing suicide every single year is 23 times larger than the maximum capacity of Rogers Center. Can you imagine how many people that is? And I think one of the biggest problem really is because when you think of depression or someone who's thinking of committing suicide, this is what most people imagine. This is what they look like. But in fact, that's not really always the case. In fact, on a normal basis, they look like this. They look happy. They are smiling. They look perfectly fine on the outside. And that's one of the major contributor why it's so difficult to recognize someone who might be having some suicidal thoughts. And the biggest contributor really is the stigma, because we don't talk about mental health and seeking support as much as we need to. So as a result, people who are having suicidal ideation are often disregarded and invalidated, because the topic of suicide is still considered taboo in many cultures and in many society. So some of you might be asking, Leo, it's 2022 now. Is there still a stigma around mental health? And my answer is absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really unfortunate if you think about it. The detrimental stigma and stereotypes around mental health is very much embedded in the very fabric of our societies. But if there's any silver lining to any of this, that is, as university students, we have the power and the privilege to dismantle these long-standing beliefs and assumptions about mental health. We have the power to change and shift the narrative.
Hi, everyone. This is our website that was created to demonstrate how we could be part of a solution. Our website looks like this, and our web link is this one you can see in the address bar. On the main page, we have the following tabs: Home, About, Get Involved, Donate, Contact, Groups List, and Members. Then, scrolling through our home, you'll find our project statement. Then, scrolling down, you'll find the About section that describes what we stand for as a community and what we hope to achieve. Further down, you'll find another section that is more specific to our community, such as asking what our community needs from us and how we can extend a hand in whatever issue they are encountering. These sections are: I'm thinking about suicide, I know someone thinking about suicide, and I'm struggling with the loss from suicide. And further down, you find testimonials where you can share your story. Whether suicide has affected you personally or others around you, you're welcome to share your thoughts. Our volunteer section is below, where we hope to gain most of our effort and community. And then we have our fact sheets for any sources and statistics you may want to find. Our emergency hotline to get in contact with someone ASAP, and our monthly discussion, where you will be able to see what we do ahead of time, and our monthly facts, where we share a fact about suicide, raising awareness, and educating others. Meet the Team is where you find us. You can read about us there. You can also watch videos on ways you can prevent suicide. Our website also offers a way so you can donate. This is where you hope to get financial support from our supporters to continue helping our community. We have another tab called Groups List, where we hope to use our community to work together to attend group events. We can also discuss different topics or create meetings to go plant trees or attend a marathon, for example.
So what makes our website different from other websites that also raise awareness for suicide prevention? Well, our website is created differently in a way where we are helping by creating a community. Our message is that you are not alone. We want to take away the biases that surround the topic of suicide. We want people to be able to speak freely about their experiences, their hardships, and what they've been through. That is our main goal, that you are not alone. Whether a person is going through some difficulty or they know a person who is going through some hardships, it doesn't matter. If you have an experience, if you have a voice, you have a voice in our website, which is something that is a little bit different from other websites. We do not want to hide this. In fact, we want to create a platform where people feel safe to be able to speak about this and to speak about all of their experiences in a safe and inviting community that is here to listen. And again, we are a community and we want to show our vulnerability. We want to show what the world refuses to see. And this is an important part of erasing the entire taboo association to suicide. And this happens around the world and we never really see it. And it's sort of like a silent pandemic that we need to eradicate. Our vision for this website and for the entire project is to create a safe community for individuals to feel part of something bigger. They can feel that they can trust the people around them. And this community is going to be built on others who are experiencing the same issues or have compassion and understand what others are going through. And although we may feel helpless at times, we want to reiterate that we are never alone. And we must shed light on the obvious pandemic around us. And with everything just shutting down, we want to be able to create a place where people can have a voice online rather than meeting up. But we also do have that option for people. Under the group list tab, we are able to connect people from all over through various events like planting a tree, going on a marathon, etc. So we're able to connect people through not only activities, but also stories, which makes us and this website a community, and our goal and vision stands to create an open and honest dialogue. Thank you.
Thanks, Group 10. I believe that would be, the next presentation would be presented or introduced by Julie Hard, who is also part of our project team.
Hi, sorry about that, Helen. Yes, so I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Ian Garrett as a designer, producer, educator, and researcher in the field of sustainability in arts and culture. He's the director of the Center for Sustainable Practice in the Arts and associate professor of ecological design for performance at York University. In this program, he also presented on SDG 13, Climate Action Workshop, and the Arts. Welcome, Dr. Garrett.
My pleasure to introduce group 14, whose work has been focused on SDGs 3 and 13. This team, which it's been really fascinating to follow their work, has come up with a really, I think, elegant, simple solution on the York University campus that has been well thought out and is thoughtful and attainable, focusing on a number of maximum impacts for ways of improving life on this campus with these SDGs in mind, in ways that I think could change some of the ways that people engage with campus, with our campus, as it could be implemented. I was really impressed with the way that the respect for the systems around the university, that they approached various stakeholders to look at the different systems in which they could engage this. So I think that the plan that you'll see in their presentation is really well thought out. So group members Divya Gerdin, Iman Nazir, both from, and Mattia Kennedy, all from York, as well as Sarah Welda Semeyat, Marjorie Ann Pinkins, David Enrique Chacon Piedra, and Francine Beatriz Redes. In Group 10, excellent work. I'll let the presentation itself speak for itself.
We have put together a proposal that links indoor plants, cleaner air, emotional well-being, and raising funds all together into one initiative. Many areas on the campus of York University in Toronto, Canada, have plants, but they do not necessarily explain what the plants are, how to look after them, and their impacts and benefits. We feel that an opportunity has been missed, and our project addresses this. Brought to you by the members of group number 14. The United Nations have developed 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, to be achieved. We were tasked with addressing goal number 13, to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. According to the United Nations, the survival of many societies and of the biological support systems of the planet is at risk, and that part of what we need is integration of climate change measures into national policies, the improvement of education, awareness raising, and institutional capacity on climate change mitigation, adaptation, and impact reduction. The objectives of our programme aim to raise awareness of Sustainable Development Goal number 13, help people feel empowered to make a difference by nurturing their own plant, integrate with SDG number 3, good health and well-being, and absorb carbon dioxide, ozone, pollutants from the environment by utilising plants, and collect funds via our sustainability levy. Young people can feel especially overwhelmed by climate change. This can lead to a feeling of helplessness. Our project aims to empower people with our subtle but impactful initiative. There are many pollutants found in furniture and buildings themselves, as well as commonly used products in art projects, model building, and set building that create unhealthy atmospheres for both students and the environment. In addition, carbon dioxide is a major contributor to climate change. Plants can efficiently remove pollutants and improve indoor air quality by absorbing chemicals and releasing oxygen, functionally cleaning the air. The Centre for Film and Television, which is part of the School of Arts, Media, Performance and Design, is the proposed pilot area where we hope to put plants into the university environment. This is the lobby on the ground floor. Although there are areas containing plants on campus, currently no centrally administered system exists for maintenance and upkeep. In order to source the plants, maintain the plants, monitor the QR code system, manage the community partner relationship, and also the budget, we suggest a paid work study or paid student position as part of our pilot project. A sticker affixed to the container of each plant will give specifics about the type of plant, its care, and its benefits. A QR code will take students to information regarding the Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the United Nations. Additionally, the first 30 students who have scanned the QR code and go to the nursery in person will be entitled to one free plant from our community partner, Sheridan Nurseries. Sheridan Nurseries has been in operation since 1913 as a wholesaler and retailer of plants, garden supplies, patio furniture, and home decor products. They have 8 garden centre locations in the Toronto area. They are an industry leader in environmentally responsible and sustainable initiatives that already support grassroots activities, as well as larger partnerships. The African violet plant is easy to look after, does well in low lighting environments such as dorm rooms, filters the air, and is a perfect starter plant for a newbie plant owner. Our sustainability levy aims to raise $5 per student per year. This figure is arrived at as it constitutes a reasonable amount. It is unlikely to cause an undue financial hardship to the average student. It is even 3 cents less than one Starbucks Grande Caramel Macchiato beverage. We believe that by putting plants into the environment and empowering people to make a difference, that we can combat climate change. Thank you.
All right, and now to introduce Group 13, we're going to welcome back Dr. Rahul Arora.
Yeah, good evening again to all. So the Group 13, so we focused on the water poverty, so which is prevailed in the Rajasthan. So the study proposes a research design which to identify the community level participatory approaches to solve the issue of water poverty in the selected area of India. So the idea is based on the fact that so when communities are involved and empowered, they take ownership of the issue to invest their best efforts towards solving their own problems. So in this way, we are focusing, or our work is focusing on SDG 6.1, which is to achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water to all. So, so I would like to thank the team members for putting their best efforts, and the other faculty member from the York University, Professor Martin. So over to you, over to the presentation. So thank you.
SDGs in Action, Student Knowledge Fair, Group 13. Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation. Today we are going to present our study regarding achieving sustainability through community participation in Rajasthan, India. We are going to talk about water and water poverty, the importance of Rajasthan region, and the purpose of this study. Water and water poverty. Life and development are the integrated parts of the water accessibility. Water stress due to the shortage of demanded water impacts both living standards and development, resulting in water poverty. Water stress results from climate change and high consumption of groundwater. Rajasthan is one of the largest states of India, with more than 70 million people. This state suffers from limited water resources and low precipitation levels, which results in an alarming water stress. And last but not least, the purpose of this study is to identify the main issues at the ground level, leading to developing mitigating actions with the help of the communities suffering from the issues.
Our main objective is to identify community-level participatory approaches to mitigate the issue of water poverty in Rajasthan, India. In order to do so, we are going to target the communities from the sampled region and identify the local issues related to the broader problem of water poverty. We're going to identify potential solutions at the local level by involving communities in solving their own problems, and we're going to raise awareness among the local community towards environmental sustainability to make them more responsible regarding freshwater resources in particular and natural resources in general.
Here's a look at the sampling frame of our proposed research design. Our target population is rural households facing water poverty, local authorities, and local NGOs. The sampled region focuses on regions in southern and southeastern Rajasthan facing acute water poverty. For our sample size, we decided on 50 villages per district, so in total, 500 villages. And then in each village, 5 households will be interviewed, along with the main head of the village, a local NGO, and local authorities. To collect our sample, each village and household will be selected using an equal distance approach, and an interview schedule will be created and used for each stakeholder group, and we will use Microsoft Excel to collect data. For our data analysis process, we will need to identify potential solutions that involve community participation and few resources while ensuring sustainability. We'll need to rely on both qualitative and quantitative data in the analysis, and our survey data will be mostly qualitative. Data from households could highlight interactions between government programs and living standards, and we can analyze actions taken at a local level by authorities and make suggestions for the community.
The team. The team makeup will be principal investigator, co-principal investigators, project associates and assistant, and a number of field investigators. The expected project duration would be about 3 years. The project is divided into 5 major milestones. Phase 1. During this phase, the team will be preparing the interview schedule and finalizing it for the survey. Phase 2. Surveying and data collection will begin. Phase 3. Once all the data is entered, then the data will be categorized based on the problems collected. Phase 4, data will be processed to understand any trends or patterns in the data. The main cause of the problem and the affected demographics will be discovered. This also includes the identification of feasible solutions to the problems. Finally, Phase 5 is the finalization of the project report. Data collected, analyzed results, alongside problem statements will be compiled into one document.
The outcome of the project is divided into 2 main categories: the immediate outcome and also the ultimate outcome. The immediate outcome is to identify the local issues and their potential solutions. Also identify policies at the local level to help manage fresh water in southeastern and southern Rajasthan, India, and increase awareness among households about water management. Moving on to the ultimate outcome of the project. The ultimate goal is to properly implement identified policies in southern Rajasthan. Sustainability by involving communities in solving their own problems. And lastly, a great connection between the local households and the NGO when solving the problem. Applying for funds to pursue the research objective mentioned in the presentation is the next step involved in making sure that the project is a success. The identified NGOs and organizations are Sastry Indo-Canadian Institution, the High Commission of Canada to India, the Indian Council of Social Science Research, and the Structural Transformation and Economic Growth. This brings us to the end of our presentation. We can't wait to get started on the project and in turn provide a great outcome. Thank you for listening.
That brings us to our final recorded presentation for this evening, introduced by Dr. Zim Za Ying, who currently heads the Center for American Education of Sunway University located in Malaysia. In addition to mentoring several groups in this program, she shared her expertise on computational thinking in the SDG 4 presentation on quality education workshop.
Hello. A very good evening, everyone. Good morning as well, depending on your time zone. So I'm very happy to introduce Raisa. Raisa is a student from York University, and she approached me after listening to the presentation on SDG 4. Her presentation would be on, or her project is on computational thinking, and the whole idea is to how to make programming or computer education more accessible to schools that does not have this facility. So Raisa is working on this project on her own, And I will hand over the time for Raisa to do her presentation. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So my project's title is Computational Thinking as Foundation to Programming. And I found a passion for this topic while doing one of the workshops in Go Global SDGs in Action. It was the Education SDG, SDG 4, and Dr. Zhe Ying, she was from Malaysia, and she presented her portion of the topic, and a section of her presentation was on her hobby project, which deals with teaching programming without computers, because in Malaysia, there are many schools who don't receive funding and they don't have the space or the resources to really teach wonderful and talented children programming. So she thought, okay, why not come up with a module and some workshops that can at least create the foundation for these kids. And that is what led to the dream. So the kids have bright minds with potential, but there are so many barriers like underprivileged schools, lack of resources to learn programming, financial inability to transfer, lack of opportunities, limited space for equipment, lack of funding, and lack of awareness. Like, is it even important? So now we are going to move on to what is actually computational thinking. So computational thinking is basically thinking critically and solving all problems in a methodical manner. So there are 4 fundamentals to computational thinking: decomposition, pattern recognition, algorithm design, and pattern abstraction. So decomposition is where you break down the bigger problem into smaller sections and smaller issues that you need to address. Suppose like a peanut butter, this is like a very silly or like a simple example. So how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. At first, this sounds very easy, but then if you had to explain it to a computer, you have to explain every step. So you have to get a jar of jelly, a knife, a jar of peanut butter, 2 slices of bread, and then spread jam on one slice, spread like peanut butter on another slice, and then close the slices together. Now there is this pattern. So this is where I like wrote straight phrases, like direct orders. Get jam, peanut butter, and 2 slices of bread, or more if you want. Open each jar, scoop, spread jelly on one slice, peanut butter on another, close the slices of breads together, and then close the jars. So after you have recognized the pattern, you can design an algorithm. And these are also like direct and very basic commands. And then you can apply the algorithm that you designed. So some keywords are like repeat, scoop, close, take, collect, spread. And step 4 is actually pattern abstraction. So suppose every time you apply the algorithm or you need to like test it out, you can do pattern abstraction by seeing like if you can distinguish between the necessary things and the unnecessary things. That's how you can make your algorithm foolproof. So this is Bangladesh's landscape and scope regarding this topic. And why Bangladesh? Because I'm from Bangladesh and Dr. Zay wanted me to provide a Bangladeshi perspective on the topic and what I can do in my community. So right now, there's nothing totally same as computational thinking, or not even like near of it. Even if there are like initiatives for ICT or teaching coding and programming, they always require a computer or like a single computer that's like used by all of the students, like by taking turns. But the hardware is always there. The internet is always there. However, if we think on a similar tangent, and maybe like when I was thinking like, what are some organizations or what are some initiatives that align with her vision? These are what came to mind. So the general or like the large scale one would be Digital Bangladesh. So our government is actually taking steps towards digitizing Bangladesh, and they're doing it by incorporating ICT into the education system and continuously improving the curriculum. They're mobilizing the knowledge and like the resources everywhere. Yeah. And then the private ones would be Volunteer Association for Bangladesh, the Tech Academy, DNet. And computer literacy program is actually an initiative taken by Volunteer Association of Bangladesh. So Volunteer Association of Bangladesh, this is actually an association that was created by Bangladeshis who were not like residents, they were like NRB. So when they thought of our government's vision and how underprivileged youths don't get access to all these resources and how they're just held back from this whole horizon of possibilities, they came up with the computer literacy program. And under this program, they actually collaborate with DNet. So DNet is actually another volunteer organization, and they work mostly with women and children by supporting entrepreneurship, by supporting ICT training and everything. So these two collaborated to run this program. And under this, they have computer literacy centers, which are set up at selected schools in rural Bangladesh. And at each of these centers, a batch of 8 to 10 students, they receive hands-on training free of charge for 2 hours a day, twice a week for 8 weeks. So that's like a full course. And the teachers are pre-trained. They also receive good resources and a teacher's manual before they start the teaching. And the Tech Academy is actually like very up and coming. So this organization this entrepreneurship was established back in 2013 by a university dropout student. And I've actually done a course at the Tech Academy. Like they had a short-term course on robotics. And I've met the entrepreneur himself, and his vision totally aligns with our vision to educate everyone, make sure no one is left behind in this journey towards computer science and programming and ICT. But anyhow, the Tech Academy, they teach children aged from like 8 to 14. They teach robotics, electronics, 2D, 3D animation, and game development. But yeah, they do require computer and the internet. So now I'll just move on to the timeline that I've decided and planned on. So this is not the end of my project, actually. I didn't have enough time or assistance to achieve all the deliverables, but this is the planning, and I've done the initial research. So I'm thinking of going beyond Go Global and still collaborating with Dr. Zay. And I'll carry on collaborating with her till September or beyond if I can. So in January, I did the initial research on like the topics, and then finding out what computational thinking is and like what scope is there, which I've just shown you. After that, I'll be studying Dr. Zay's workshop modules, and I'll write my feedback on the modules from a Bangladeshi perspective. Then I'll request access to the general modules of the prospective organizations that I'm thinking of collaborating with. Then I'll do general research on teaching young children and the psychology of teaching, or how young children would find something simple but motivating and clear. Then I'll form the first draft of just combining all of the modules and making it efficient from all perspectives. And then I'll pass it on to the administrative stakeholders like Dr. Zay and the possible schools and organizations who will be willing to do the workshops. After I have received the first draft, I'll make the second draft and pass it on to them. And after they provide me the second draft with feedbacks, I'll make the final module and I'll make necessary amendments and updates. And then I'll produce the final module and hand it to all the administrative stakeholders, who will then design the workshops and plan the workshops, like the dates, times, and venues, funding. And I'll be there to supervise and as a liaison between Dr. Zay and the Bangladeshi collaborators. Then during September, we will start the workshops and we will train the teachers first for 1 to 2 days and then carry out the workshops. And after the first workshop, the pilot workshop is done, we'll get feedbacks from the teachers. I'll relay reports to Dr. Zay and other stakeholders. And if anything needs to be changed, we'll change that. And then we'll carry out all the workshops until the whole module is finished or until the whole course is done. And the reports will continue to be relayed to Dr. Zay. And after all the reports have been relayed to Dr. Zay, we can reflect on it and see where it goes.
Okay, wonderful. Big round of applause. So thank you everybody for all of your hard work, for answering the challenge, your commitment, and your creativity. So we're going to head into just another 10 minutes of our Q&A before we can recognize some of the outstanding projects that we've seen through this program. I think I actually want to invite first Katrine. Katrine, if you're here, if you want to ask your first question, and this one is for everybody. So please feel free to raise your hand or just come on screen. Go ahead, Katrine.
Thank you. Thanks, Rose. First of all, I'm absolutely blown away by the project and by the teamwork that you guys have shown. And I think it's wonderful to see how naturally you have all worked over borders, over time zones, and have brought this all together. And as Claudine this evening here in Toronto mentioned already, the handprint, I was wondering if we could hear a few perspectives on, remember the handprint versus the footprint, our ecological footprint with our energy and the waste that we're producing, but we have our hands. The little girl in India, Srira, who said, I can do something with my hands. And I'd love to hear a couple of perspectives from the students, but also invite the faculty to say, with my handprints are going to be bigger than my footprints because. And I'd love to hear just a few perspectives, a few thoughts in the chat, or maybe someone would like to unmute himself or herself and join us for a moment and share your idea. My handprints will be bigger than my footprints because. Any ideas, any thoughts?
My handprint will be bigger than my footprint because in this busy life, I cannot always take care of my footprint or see where my feet are going, but I can always decide what I want to do with my hands, how to give with my hands and how to organize and how to take care of the footprints that are left behind.
Thank you, Riza. Thank you. That's a wonderful thought to kind of take it into also a lifelong commitment to do something and share. Claudine, I'm seeing your hand as well.
Yeah, yeah, because it's my favorite. So my handprint will be larger or bigger than my footprint because I'm not alone. I know that I am not alone, and yeah, we are together in achieving this sustainable development goals.
Thank you. Yeah, and here I had in the motive of partnerships. We are all in this together, and we're all part of the SDGs, and every single one can make a difference.
Thank you, Katrine. And please feel free to share your thoughts and answers to that question in the chat. For now, I'm gonna move us to the next question that we received. So this is open to both the student panelists, to our student participants, and also to our mentors. What was your memorable aha or eureka moment during the last 3 months of this program of the SDGs in Action Challenge?
I would like to give my input.
Thanks, Shay. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's very encouraging to see more of the younger generations being very conscious about our environment and what we can do for sustainability. Of course, ultimately, when come to business, the bottom line is how do we sustain a business, right? We have all these great ideas of being environmental, but at the end, the bread and butter and then the money must still come in. So I'm very excited to see so many young people are interested to take this perspective in, and definitely more young people are aware about, equality. So this is indeed a good sign. Keep up the good work, York Universities and also the partner universities.
Thank you so much, Jay. Terima kasih. Really appreciate that comment.
Hello and hi everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm part of Group 8, and I think one of the biggest aha moments was just realizing how much we all, in our own way, really care about the topic. Because from the beginning, like we've had, different other topics to choose from, but they're really narrowing it down and seeing like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. Yes, it's a huge issue, or not really an issue, but like it's a really big thing to tackle. And especially if you only have like 5 weeks, you kind of think like everything's like against you. But then like just seeing everything afterwards, it's just so amazing. And especially the fact that we're all collaborating, we're in different time zones, we're trying to figure out how to like network with different organizations, which we did have a chance to, and it was super awesome and amazing to see, to be able to like see that like the small things that we're making and we're doing actually matters in the world, and like we're really providing that foundation for like other students or other leaders or literally even like just anyone to kind of just move forward with the SDG goals. So this is just also my really huge thank you to my teammates and all the mentors and everyone here for just seeing how important this is for not just our lives current, but like for those who are to come before after us. So thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Christian. I see Leo has turned on his video, right?
Yes.
To share your thoughts. Yeah.
For sure. Thank you. For me, I think my biggest aha moment is how much we can accomplish when we work together. I think I underestimated working with a group. I think it's really important to take note of that, how much perspective you can gain and how much lesson you can gain from other people and their experiences and even their geography, right? And initially, my concern joining this project was we're not going to be able to produce a project that's original or creative, especially in today's modern society where everything is just out there, right? Like, I feel like everything has been created for us. But like, working on this project, you realize like even simple solutions, even simple things that we face on a daily basis could really be changed, and we could really make a difference that is sustainable not only for our generation but also for the next one.
Thanks, Leo. Rose, over to you. I think we have one more question, no?
Yes, let me just pull it up. But thank you so much. It's been so lovely to see everyone being able to work together. I know sometimes it is hard to see how group work can help, and there are always a little bit of hesitancy working with people that you don't know, but you really did take on that challenge. And that brings me to our next and final question, which is about the next portion of this program, which is your study abroad component. So some of you will actually be preparing to go into a work or study abroad opportunity after this. So we wanted to ask you, how has this experience contributed to your preparations? What skills or things that you learned through this process have prepared you for your adventures abroad?
So I know some of you had planned as part of the project to actually implement this on the ground, right? And perhaps meet some of your partners who you've worked with virtually. So if you have any thoughts on that, you can turn on your microphone, or you can also put your answers in the chat. Okay, Ravi.
Yes, I'm not able to start my video. So okay. Yeah, as a crew, we were able to connect with a couple of local organizations in Sri Lanka, and they are willing to work with us, and they are talking about how we are flexible, and they are talking about the current situation in Sri Lanka because of the economical struggle, and they are even given options. We can come to India and they will bring the people to train on the global citizen education. So we are now trying to conduct how it is feasibility and the financial things. But otherwise, they gave an option for us to our group that we can work on Zoom too. Some of the option, or like a couple of weeks. We don't know even the timeline. We actually did some initiative to work on our curriculum, develop more, that is collaborate with them to training their people who's working with students in Sri Lanka.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for sharing that plan of action. When I hear the word, we don't know yet, we're still talking to our partners, that's wonderful to my ears, because that just tells us that this is a collaborative effort. Thank you, Ravi. And for those of you who wants to comment, I think I encourage you to share your thoughts in the Q&A or in the chat box. We are finally ready to the most awaited moment of the evening, I suppose. I mean, thank you so much again for all of your presentations. We are so excited to learn about the projects of the students. And again, I just wanted to share that we are so impressed and appreciative for the time that you have shared with us through this program. I think I'm gonna move forward to the awarding ceremony, Eugene. So before we proceed, I'd like to share with you and acknowledge that we have the awards committee who helped us pick the winners or the top SDGs in Action awards for tonight or for today. We have Professor Philip Kelly, Associate Dean for Research Graduate and Global Affairs at the Faculty of Environmental and Urban Change as a member of the committee. We also have Dr. Lily Cho, Associate Dean, Global and Community Engagement from the Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies. Lily says her greetings because unfortunately there is a conflict event at the same time happening today. And of course, we have Vinita Gangatharan, Executive Director of York International. So again, thank you so much for the time of the awards committee reviewing the projects with us. And so I think with that, I'm gonna introduce or hand over the mic to Philip, Professor Philip Kelly. Philip, over to you.
Thank you very much, Helen. It's been great to see all of the presentations this evening, and I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the Faculty of Environmental and Urban Change at York. I'm a little wary as well because I know that award presenters it can be a dangerous occupation sometimes, having heard about the Oscars ceremony last night, but I will push through anyway. I think I'm reasonably safe. I'd like to start just by congratulating all of the groups. Loads of creativity, great collaboration, great passion for the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's been great to see. I, as Helen said, was one of the adjudication panel that had to undertake the difficult task of picking a few as award winners. And it's my pleasure to announce the award for Creative Solutions. Now, this is the award that recognizes the project with the highest degree of interdisciplinary thinking to mobilize and engage communities to act on the SDGs. And the team receives, am I allowed to say this? The team receives a certain amount of money to further and implement the SDGs project. And this was something that so many of the teams did a great job in, but we have chosen Group 8, which is the Global Citizenship Education Group, working in the Philippines and Sri Lanka, who were doing the curriculum analysis for quality education. We thought the project was excellently conceived. It was a comparative project, so it spoke to the contexts in both the Philippines and Sri Lanka, reminded us that solutions to SDGs can both inspire each other across different contexts, but also need to be distinct and context specific. It was a very stylish video and presentation, very professionally done, very smoothly done. Developing curriculum was a great idea. Lots of limitations, of course, because of the online nature of what we're doing at the moment. But to develop curriculum in that way was a really great idea and a great way of bringing the team together. And of course, it was inherently interdisciplinary in the way that it was thinking about citizenship and multiculturalism and other aspects of citizenship education. So let me just mention who the members of Group 8 are. Danica, Mila, and Renshali from the University of the Philippines, and Christiane, Edgar, and Ravi from York University. And congratulations also to their mentors, Dr. James Papel, Dr. Elvira Peña, and Dr. Ana Maria Martinez. So congratulations to Group 8. Back to you, Helen.
Thank you, Philip. That was wonderful. I'd like to now turn it over to Lucy Fromovitz, our Vice Provost students, to announce the next award. Lucy?
Thank you so much, Helen. And I do have to say, what an impressive evening. Listening to all this terrific work is just incredible. So it was a pleasure to be part of this evening. Now I have the honor of announcing the winner of the Partnership Award. And this is awarded to the project that demonstrates outstanding collaboration and community engagement. The team also receives a cash prize to further implement their project. And the winner of this award is Group 6, Influencing Waste Management Behaviors of the Filipino Youth through Recycling Olympics. Tremendous work. And just to remind you, as a response to the SDG target 11.6.1, Solid Waste Management Group 6 conducted their research and implemented a community-based intervention to uphold solid waste management practices such as recycling behavior of Filipino communities, specifically youth. Congratulations, you used education, games, creativity in order to address this issue. Congratulations to our student members, Carminas, Roxanne, Gandhi, Tiwandakis, Jessel, Van, and Mohammed, and of course to the mentors, Dr. M. Firazali and Dr. Segura. Congratulations, team. Well done.
Thank you, Lucy. And now for the final, the top award for the night or for the evening, I'd like to turn it over and introduce or reintroduce Professor Lisa Phillips, our Provost and Vice President Academic. Lisa, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour, bonsoir. It is my honor to be able to participate in this event, to have listened to these incredible presentations. I am so impressed, and to announce the winner of the Best Overall Project, which is awarded to the project that achieved meaningful action towards the SDG, exhibiting strong intercultural and interdisciplinary collaboration and a sense of community. And this was no easy task, I'm sure, for the awards committee to land on which project should be honored with this award. But Group 11 has been chosen. Congratulations, Group 11. And this team also will be receiving some funding to make sure they can go ahead and further implement their project. The project title, you'll remember, is PADS, Promoting Access and Deconstructing Stigma. The PADS project is about creating meaningful discussions around periods and promoting the overall well-being of people who menstruate. Talking about menstruation and reproductive health is still taboo in some parts of the world, and this project really hopes to advocate and support reproductive and sexual health education. Very impressive that the project was completed across Toronto, York University, Philippines, and Italy. And I want to congratulate very warmly Shizaram, Emery, Foja, Manvir, and Kiribel. I'm hoping that I didn't have too many mispronunciations in there, as well as our mentors, Dr. Most impressive presentation and engagement with community partners to have real impact on real people's lives in a very thoughtful way. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Lisa, and congratulations to the groups, Group 8, 6, and Group 11 for your great work, great teamwork, making sure that the projects or the start or the pilot of these projects are multi-sectoral and across different partnerships, particularly with the communities. So again, thank you so much and congratulations. So it's now time for us to the final part of our program, which is a few reminders, a few acknowledgements to our partners and participants. Rose, over to you.
Okay, so it's not really a reminder, but really an invitation. As you know, this is the first run of this program at the university, which is very exciting. But we will be inviting everyone, if you know anyone who is interested in this kind of work, if you want to help and continue the work that's already been done here, this opportunity will be available as of September this year. So we want to just take the time to invite you to think about it, to share it with your colleagues and friends. So with this project FCC, you get to learn about the SDGs, you get to lead your own projects, to think critically about what it means to be involved in communities and development. And you also get an opportunity to study and research and work in the communities where your SDG projects would take place. So if you're a York student, you may receive up to $8,000. So it's definitely something for you to think about and consider. And we invite you to check us out on our website and also on our social media, and as we will be sharing some updates about when those applications will open later this summer. Okay, I think that was what I wanted to share about the program, and I'll hand it over to you, Helen, for the acknowledgements.
Thanks, Rose. So we'd like to again thank all of the student participants. Again, I just wanted to underline the commitment that the students have shown to us. They are our future leaders, our future champions for sustainability. And knowing and acknowledging that they've done these projects with their academics, and many of them also are working, right? Having their part-time work. So it shows their commitment to this agenda. So again, thank you so much, our student participants. You will see here their names. We don't have time to to read all of the names, but you know who you are. And again, I congratulate you for this great achievement. We have 3 group winners, but all of them are winners, really. Thank you so much. And then I also want to acknowledge our faculty mentors, our SDG mentors. So you will see here as well a very good representation of our faculties at York University, but also spread out to our global partners. We have partners in Costa Rica, we have partners in India, in El Salvador, in Malaysia, and you've seen some of them go live through the presentations. You also see here a list of the partners who actually nominated their students to this program. A big piece of this, as you have heard from the students, is learning to work together across differences, across different backgrounds and cultures. So as much as this project is for our York University students, we recognize the big commitment and contributions of our partners and of all the student participants from our partner universities around the world. Thank you so much. And I think that just wraps our congratulations and thank you to our students and faculty mentors. And finally, I also want to acknowledge the team behind this. Any project success is not run by 1 or 2 people. This is a team. This is a team that has worked together, and you've seen it in action tonight or today. So we, York International, along with our partners from the different faculties, are grateful, are so appreciative of the time and effort of all of the participants. I would like to recognize Mary Rose Tala, who has helped really as project facilitator for this program. Eugene Peck, who you don't see him in the live session tonight, but he is running the show, as you can see. He made sure all of these video presentations run smoothly. Ana Maria Martinez from our Faculty of Environmental and Urban Change and Las Nubes Project. Katie Gribbons from LAMPS, very close part of our team. Julie Hard from Health, Hugo Chen from Science, Mitch Burney from Lausanne School of Engineering, Philip, one of our very early champions from the different faculties. Thank you so much, Philip. Jason Rai from our School of Arts, Media, Performance and Design, Theo Peredi from our School of Business, Schulich School of Business. And again, thanks to the awards committee for reviewing the projects and helping us recognize their work. Finally, I'd like to recognize and thank our senior leaders who are champions and supporters of this project. So I would like to recognize Vinita, our executive director, Lucy Framovitz, our vice provost students, Lisa Phillips, our provost and vice president academic, and finally, President Rhonda Lenton for being part of this project and being a champion of this initiative. We know that the community, the York University community committed to the SDGs through our 5-year plan, University Academic Plan, and we are all contributing towards that step. So have a lovely evening, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much to everyone who joined
And
us.
Helen, I'm just going to interrupt for a second to say thank you to you leading the project teams. It's without your commitment, this would not have been possible. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinita. Thank you, everybody. And again, thank you so much to the students. And we look forward to hearing more about your projects. I know some of them have only started, so we'll be here supporting you. Thanks. Have a nice evening, everybody.
I will close us out now. Have a great evening, a great day if you're joining from another place. And thanks so much for spending the time with us to really acknowledge all the hard work that's been our last few months.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.